Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. There's no great genius without some touch of madness. Quality is not an act, it is a habit. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Anybody can become angry, that is easy, but to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not within everybody's power and is not easy. Whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. You will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over self. In all things of nature, there is something of the marvelous. The worst form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal. At his best, man is the noblest of all animals. Separated from law and justice, he is the worst. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. The ideal man bears the accidents of life with dignity and grace, making the best of circumstances. Good habits formed at youth make all the difference. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. He who is unable to live in society, or who has no need because he is sufficient for himself, must be either a beast or a god. Personal beauty is a greater recommendation than any letter of reference. We make war that we may live in peace. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. The aim of the wise is not to secure pleasure, but to avoid pain. What it lies in our power to do, it lies in our power not to do. The ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. Mothers are fonder than fathers of their children because they are more certain they are their own. Suffering becomes beautiful when anyone bears great calamities with cheerfulness, not through insensibility, but through greatness of mind. To run away from trouble is a form of cowardice, and while it is true that the suicide braves death, he does it not for some noble object, but to escape some ill. Wishing to be friends is quick work, but friendship is a slow ripening fruit. Moral excellence comes about as a result of habit. We become just by doing just acts, temperate by doing temperate acts, brave by doing brave acts. The educated differ from the uneducated as much as the living from the dead. It is best to rise from life as from a banquet, neither thirsty nor drunken. Probable impossibilities are to be preferred to improbable possibilities. Those who educate children well are more to be honored than they who produce them, for these only gave them life, those the art of living well. Education is an ornament in prosperity and a refuge in adversity. Character may almost be called the most effective means of persuasion. A great city is not to be confounded with a populous one. My best friend is the man who in wishing me well wishes it for my sake. To attain any assured knowledge about the soul is one of the most difficult things in the world. All human actions have one or more of these 7 causes: chance, nature, compulsions, habit, reason, passion, desire. The virtue of justice consists in moderation, as regulated by wisdom. Without friends, no one would choose to live, though he had all other goods. The one exclusive sign of thorough knowledge is the power of teaching. The least initial deviation from the truth is multiplied later 1,000-fold. There was never a genius without a tincture of madness. For one swallow does not make a summer, nor does one day, and so too one day, or a short time, does not make a man blessed and happy. We become just by performing just action, temperate by performing temperate actions, brave by performing brave action. Therefore, the good of man must be the end of the science of politics. The state comes into existence for the sake of life and continues to exist for the sake of good life. He who is to be a good ruler must have first been ruled. I have gained this from philosophy, that I do without being commanded what others do only from fear of the law. We are not angry with people we fear or respect, as long as we fear or respect them. You cannot be afraid of a person and also at the same time angry with him. If one way be better than another, that you may be sure is nature's way. The greatest virtues are those which are most useful to other persons. Men acquire a particular quality by constantly acting in a particular way. Poetry is finer and more philosophical than history, for poetry expresses the universal, and history only the particular. Even when laws have been written down, they ought not always to remain unaltered. Our judgments when we are pleased and friendly are not the same as when we are pained and hostile. For as the eyes of bats are to the blaze of day, so is the reason in our soul to the things which are by nature most evident of all. Bring your desires down to your present means. Increase them only when your increased means permit. A tragedy is a representation of an action that is whole and complete and of a certain magnitude. A whole is what has a beginning and middle and end. Misfortune shows those who are not really friends. For though we love both the truth and our friends, piety requires us to honor the truth first. No one would choose a friendless existence on condition of having all the other things in the world. No notice is taken of a little evil, but when it increases, it strikes the eye. It is not once, nor twice, but times without number that the same ideas make their appearance in the world. Those who excel in virtue have the best right of all to rebel, but then they are of all men the least inclined to do so. Homer has taught all other poets the art of telling lies skillfully. It is Homer who has chiefly taught other poets the art of telling lies skillfully. The beginning of reform is not so much to equalize property as to train the noble sort of natures not to desire more and to prevent the lower from getting more. Different men seek after happiness in different ways and by different means, and so make for themselves different modes of life and forms of government. Man is the only animal capable of reasoning, though many others possess the faculty of memory and instruction in common with him.